A very good morning to everyone. We are glad to have you today with us. I am Siddhant Kumbar, doing BTech Computer Science with specialization in game development from the North Cap University, and I will be your host for the day. So, one of the most interesting things about game development is when you finally get to play your beloved game and cherish the spoils of success that you get until you come across a bug or two, or 23 in my case, to use the process of game prototyping. This involves creating a method to test the concept of the game before investing too much money and time into the project. To tell you more about the topic, we have our esteemed speaker for the day, Mr. Shivam Awasthi. He is currently working as a senior technical artist for UbiSoft Abu Dhabi and has been in the industry for more than 15 years. He has also worked for companies like EA, PlayerX Mobile Entertainment, and Lightning Fish Games. His expertise lie in doing research work to develop the technical pipelines for games. He is also proficient in 3D modeling, writing shaders, and creating particle effects. So, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Shivam Awasthi. Please give a big round of applause.
Hello guys, hi Siddhant, thanks for the introduction.
Hello, sir.
Hello, hi guys. Hey Siddhant, thank you for the introduction.
Hello, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's start with the today's session. So it's about the importance of the game prototyping. So in the process of the game development, there are so many things that can go wrong or that may go wrong, or there are different teams that work together and each and every discipline have different ideas in their mind. So let's do let's start with the team structure of a game development team. There will be a designer, there will be artists, there will be programmers, there will be the management team. The designers will design the features, the programmers will code them for them, the art team will create the content for the whole feature. But it is very necessary to understand the actual design and the expectation of that. So to do that, let's say if the designer starts a feature and designs something, but it's not conveyed to everyone properly, then the programmers might not be able to design that because they don't have the full details about it. So to start with this, a prototyping concept is very important. It can be done in multiple phases. It's not just only to be make it an interactive app or interactive game in Unity or in any other engine. It can be on paper, it can be in presentation, it can be in any form of a communicative media where we can communicate the idea from with the whole team. So let's say a designer designs a feature and then he explains that feature to the whole team that what is the expected outcome of this. So instead of whole feature right away, it is very important to make a working prototype of it, which all the users can experience and interact with. Because reading something gives you a fair bit of idea of things, how it can look, how it will behave, how I will feel it. But once you actually play it on the device, be it mobile or console or any platform that the game is being made for, that is the actual experience that will be given to the user or the player who will be playing the game. So to make the prototype early in this of the development is very important. And prototype should not be only for the full development cycle or the full game. It can be for the small portions or small features of the game also. Let's say, for example, if you are making a first person shooter game, the basic objective of the game is to shoot at things, but there will be side objectives as well. That if the player can shoot, if it can shoot its enemy, if it can shoot through the objects, if it can collect something, health or anything, then it can be broken up into multiple features. One part is the shooting part, one part is the picking up of the objects or the resources. So each and everything can be prototyped into a different working example. So let me share my screen and I can show you some of the things that we'll do in Unity in a bit. So to give the example, there will be things, let's say player can pick up, there will be behaviors which can interact, the user can interact with them. And the importance of that is it will give the right experience or the right expectation to the whole team. So the designers themselves can make the prototype. So today we'll be using the engine as a Unity engine for our choice to do the things. So if something has to be done, let's say designer creates a feature, they did a quick prototype themselves, and then they showed it to the team. Okay, this is what I want. It may not be the polished one, it may have issues, but it will convey the idea very well. So compared to a conveying an idea in writing and compared to that conveying an idea through a working prototype, there's a huge difference. Because when we make any game, we make for a targeted audience base, and we want to deliver an experience or deliver a specific feeling to the user, how the user will interpret it, how the user will see it. So that is very important. Let's say if you want to make something where there's a button that has to be clicked, but the button is placed in the screen which is not very visible or which is very small in size. Now, depending on the media, if it's a console game, it may be fine. If it's a PC game, it may be fine because user can pinpoint on the small locations. But if it's on a mobile game, then touching a very small area is very difficult. So the button has to be big in size enough so that the finger can touch it. So all these things will change based on the platform also. And that also is included in the prototyping for which platform you are prototyping. So today we'll take Unity as the example and we'll prototype for, let's say, mobile platforms. So let me open Unity and give you a fair bit introduction to it, how we do it. New project. How do I share my, can I share my screen?
Yes, sir, you can. There's an
All right.
option to the left
Yeah,
of the
share.
leave button.
All right. So let's share this one. So I believe in our today's audience, we'll have a lot of people. Someone will be experienced, someone will have some knowledge about the development process, someone will be familiar with the Unity engine, but there will be people who will be completely new to this process. So I'll take from the very ground level and we'll cover the basic aspects of it, how you can make things, you can do things, and from where to get the content and quickly prototype it and fast. Share screen. Yep. So today we are using the engine of choice as Unity 3D. You can find it on Unity's website. If you already have it, you can use it, else you can download it from the website, like download for Windows or for other platforms, Mac or Linux. They will give you the correct download. So I already have it on my machine and we're using the 2019 version. So to start with, I'll use the predefined templates in the Unity. So how you can do it, let's say I'll select this FPS micro game and or let's select Lego. So my test project, and then I'll give it the location. Yeah, this is fine. I'll create another one. Lego test project. So once it is done, then it will create the project for you and import the whole project so that you can have something to start with. I believe when you want to make a game or to prototype a game, instead of if you want to just test out a specific portion, but you are confused about how you want to or how you will make the rest of the parts which you are not very sure about. So use a existing prototype or the existing template and it like modding a game. So you take already a pre-built game which has some interactions, some controls already built into it, so that you can quickly start and just work on your areas which are your areas of interest. So prototyping is not only for the programmers, it is for each and every discipline of the game development team. So let's say if you want to, if you're a 3D artist, then you can prototype your models, how they will look when they come together in the game, whether they exactly do what they're supposed to do or how they are expected, whether they are looking good when they come together or not. So let's say if you have to make a level design, if you have to create a level and you have different models separate. So for the 3D artist, the prototyping will be to set up the level. So he can do it in Maya or 3ds Max, or he can export all the things into the Unity and create a setup for him and then present it to the designers or the programmers or the management team. Look together when it comes together. So I'll use this project, the Lego test project, as the example. So let's, before that, for the very new users of the Unity, I'll give a little introduction about the Unity. So once you open it, it will give you this window. This is the default layout. This is the menu bar on the top, and these are the some visual controls for movement, rotation, and other things. These are the pivot controls, the play pause control of the game. This is the hierarchy view, which will show you all the objects which are in your current scene. And this is your project window down in the bottom. And this is a console window for the logs. Console window is mainly used for programmers to see the messages that the game returns, if there's any problem, how to debug it or how to trace it. And for the art team and for the others, all the assets and everything will go in the project view. You can see it here under the assets folder. In packages folder, you don't need to worry about. This is something which is the dependency of this project, so it has been included automatically. That I'll cover later in the session if you want to customize it. So in assets, we have different folder structure. You can organize your project by multiple folders and subfolders so that you can easily find your data. And then if the project grows big enough, but you are not sure to find it, you forward the folder, then you can type the name of the objects as well, prefab or something. And then there's a very important thing here. This button is search by type. You can do a search by type also. If it's a clip, animation clip, or the font, or the material, or the prefab, or a scene. So if it's a prefab, you can select this, and then in the particular folder, it will show you all that type of objects. This is the inspector view. Inspector view will show you the properties and the components of any selected object. So let's say in this scene view, in this hierarchy view, if I select something, let's say this top object setup. So this is just a transform. Then game manager has so many things attached to it, which we can see in the inspector. So inspector view will show you any properties of selected object in the hierarchy or in the project view. So if you select it in the project view, it will show you the property of that object. If you select it in the hierarchy view, it will show you the property of that one. Because this is a tutorial template, so it has a separate customized window of tutorials as well, which we will follow some of them, not all of them. to give you a basic idea. So if you want to start on your own, you can quickly just grab the template and go to the tutorials window and just follow it and then customize on top of it. Maybe let's say add your own model, change the materials or the colors, add your own character into this, and then play along with it. And in this window here, we can see all the things. We see a scene window and a game window. These are all arranged in tabs. And in Unity, you can change the whole hierarchy or the whole layout of the Unity according to your preferences. Let's say I don't want to see this tutorial window as a separate window. I want it to be a tab along with the inspector. I can click on this and drag it next to the tutorial inspector. So now I get this big window, big area. I can select this tab or this tab. We'll keep the session interactive. If you have any issues or any problems or any confusion, just you can ask me, or if there's a message window, you can message. And scene view and each and every window,
Yes,
if
sir.
you right click on that, sorry. Is there a
Yes, sir,
question?
they can.
Yeah, please tell me.
No, sir, I'm saying that there is an option to type in the chat and ask any questions if they have.
Oh, okay, but I don't see the chat here.
Uh, so there's an option of chat. Go to more.
Siddhant, you can later by the end of the session, maybe you can collect the questions and ask on behalf of
Yeah,
everyone.
if you are receiving questions, you can collect the questions with you, and then in the end of the session, we can take the questions and answer them accordingly.
Okay, sir.
That should be,
Okay.
yeah, all right. So to get everyone familiar with the tool we'll be using, this is the area, and each and every window you can click on it, right click on it, you'll get some options: maximize, lock, close tab. Same things can be got, same things will be in the option in these three dots here as well. So let's say you are working on the scene window and you find it to be very small, you can't make it very big by dragging, there's a limit. So you can maximize the tab either by right clicking on the tab and maximize, or clicking on these three dots and maximize the menu button. So the moment you maximize it, it will be a full screen window. Then you can navigate around and see things. So how I'm navigating through this scene is just simple controls like in Maya or Max, holding down the Alt button and left click to look around, and middle click to pan, and right click to zoom in and zoom out. And if you're lost somewhere, then you can select and unmaximize this and select some object from the hierarchy. Either double click on that, it will focus the object in the scene view, or you can click in the scene view and I think hit F. Yeah, it will bring that object in the focus just like Maya. So navigating around in this scene is very important because it's a 3D environment. You can make 2D game as well, but even in 2D game you will need navigation so that you can get your object in focus to place it correctly. And then there are these controls. This is the hand tool and the move tool. Hand tool is used to, like, if you don't want to use the keyboard just by mouse, you can left click and pan the whole scene, and right click will rotate around with the hand tool. And move tool is to actually move the object and place it in the 3D scene. So let's say I want to place this character instead of here, I want to place it somewhere else. From the hierarchy view, I clicked on it, it gets selected. I can see it in the scene view as well. There are some gizmos which are enabled with the object. One more thing, yes. So there are these gizmos in the scene view, which you can see here. Here are all these types which we can select and if it is too much, we can enable and disable them as well as we need. Let's say I want to start this character from this location. I'll place it here and hit this play button. It immediately switched to the game view, but it is still in the not full screen mode. It is in the small view. The controls for these games are forward, backward, and W, S, A, and D. W for forward, S for back, A for left, and D for right, like any FPS control game movement. Space bar is for jump. I can go and jump and collectible objects which can be collected. And then we can click on the play again and it will stop the game. But let's say the window was small. What we can do is we can select this game window, and there is, when you select the game window, there are options maximize on play. Let's enable this, and after this, if I make the changes and play the game, let's say start the character on the bridge. If I play it will have my changes and it will start the game in the full screen view. So I can have better view. So the character starts on the bridge. And the shortcut for the play is Control P. We can, if we are unable to find the cursor, some games or some prototypes hide the mouse cursors, so you can't find it where the cursor is and you're not able to click on the play button, then you can use the keyboard shortcuts. And the same can be found in the window here and tutorials. Yep, in the edit, play, pause, and step. So Control P is for play and stop, and pause is Control Shift P. So all these things can be checked from here. And then this project already has a couple of assets in it. Let's go to the home page. If you need something to quickly prototype your scene or game, you can also take the help of the asset store in Unity. So asset store is the actual store from the Unity itself on which different users and people host their assets, some for free, some for paid. And there is a very good library of the assets which are available in there for you to pick, actually make your game and test the actual experience of the game. I think there will be a categories to select the types, and then currencies. There should be an option to select free object as well. Let's say maximize this tab so that you can see the better view of it. Top free assets, popular assets. So there are a lot of stuffs available from the Unity itself. They make content available for the user so they can quickly test their ideas and make the games and make the actual interaction possible in the game. So you can check out, let's say, nature starter kit is there. If we take a quick look, it has trees, foliage, different variety models. These models of trees are already available there. If you want to create a landscape, you can quickly grab stuff from here and just populate it, create your scene, your level design, and then test it immediately. And because you are doing the game development and learning all the aspects, if you're a designer, Then you can grab the stuff from the asset store and make your idea possible. If you are a 3D artist, then you can grab the predefined templates or predefined uh, placeholder games which are already available on the Unity website. There are a lot of projects which can be downloaded that I can also share, let's say. So on the Unity website, there are resources, and then there is this knowledge base. Core platform, promoted articles, general. Not here. Here, learning. So on the top bar, there is this learning tab. In this, there are lot of projects or templates which are already available, which you can find it here. So you can download those projects or those templates, import them in the Unity, and make little bit changes or mod them. Yeah, we'll check this later. All right, products, solutions, learning, code, community, developer tools, download assets for release, documentation. And Unity is free to download. You can do all your tests and everything for free. That's great. All right, so let's get back to this tutorial and we see how we can make changes to this one. So this Lego tutorial, this project, in the terms of project structure, I'll say it a bit of a little bit complex one, not a very basic, but all the things are very defined and the navigation and the whole thing is very clear in this. So what you can do is you can select tutorial tab, let's say get started, or if I select this one, it will open up the window for me and will take you step by step how to do the things. So let's say it's telling you to in the story you find to explore the basics of this playtest and Lego micro game and review the Unity editor interface. Start, and then it is asking you to do things like hand holding and telling you things. So for very new users, you can use this mode for this template project. It will play, and controls are there on the right side. If you see, it is highlighted them. So this is just like the first time user experience of any game or any tutorial of any game. So this is the tutorial for the Unity of tutorial for this project. So let's say if you are making a game and you want user to get used to it, or you want to tell the user what to do, then you make tutorials for the user. Okay, click on this button, this will do this, or you give pop-up messages to proceed forward, do specific steps. Moving, and then again click on the play, it will stop and it will mark this step as complete and it will go to the another one. Then it will say the another step is to select the player minifig game object, and you can select that in the hierarchy, and here on the left side if you see, it is already highlighted in the hierarchy window. You click on it, it is selected, and then when we select this object in the inspector view, all the properties are there. Now this tutorial wants us to change the value to 13 to be specific, and then that marks this step as complete, and we go to next and we save it either through file save or control S, and then we play the game. So what this thing has done, earlier the speed was 6, now the speed is 13. So in previous game the character was moving very slow, now it will move fast. So to see, is this a very important aspect of the game, whether the character is moving slow or the character is moving fast? This is exactly what we do in the prototype. So if you are making a game which is a big environment and you want it to complete in, let's say, expected time is 3 minutes or 5 minutes, but the character is moving very slow. Even in 10 minutes, you're not able to reach the end. That is a bad experience for the user. But how will you get to know that this speed is correct or not? You'll get to know that by prototyping. You will make a prototype, you will set the speed, and you will play the game. And then you will experience it yourself, or the whole team will experience it themselves. And then the feedbacks will be there. It's too slow, it's too fast. Then we tweak the value. Sometimes we got balancing as well. And then we get to the sweet spot and the exact number that suits the best for that type of game. So here earlier it was 6, the forward speed, now it's 13. So in 13, I feel it's fine. Earlier maybe it was too slow, now it feels good. Let's stop this. And that marks the step as complete. And then it says me next step, select the tutorial 2, go to the next island to continue directly, or return to this thing. So if you want to continue all the tutorials, you can click on next and it will load tutorial by tutorial. So the first one is get started, the second one is add a platform. Oops, I clicked it. Then activate the elevator. So all these things are already predefined in this project. So if I play this game in this level itself, if I reach an area, there's a collectible. It's moving too slow, right? Because I didn't save my changes. But from this part, I can't jump to that other part of the island. For that, I have to add a platform here. So to add a platform, let's say start this. It's already selected the object, which object has to be added, and where was it arranged? It was under in the project tab, which we discussed earlier in the whole layout of the Unity, the default layout. It's under assets, Lego, prefabs, Lego mods, and stone structures. There's this object called platform. It's already pre-built. What object it has? It has a model script attached to it. It's a type of a model. So we drag it, we selected it from the project view and dragged it directly into the scene view. In Unity, whatever view is there in front, the object gets placed there. And then in the navigation, you can click Alt and move object. To move it around, to zoom in, zoom out, I'm using the Alt button and the right mouse button. Navigation in the scene is also very important. And let's say I want to place it somewhere here as a step for our minifig to jump on. And then I hit the play button. Oh, I'm in this tutorial. Okay, next. It wants me to rotate it as well. Let's rotate, do the exact placement or whatever suits our need. And then we enter the play mode again. Now, because we have made a change to the scene in Unity, whatever changes we made, we can test them directly in the editor itself. Editor means this Unity instance which is open. So I can quickly reach here, and earlier this step was not there. Now it is there already. I can jump on this, and again I can jump, and I have reached the another island. So here is the benefit of the prototyping. Now you can see, not just see the game, you can actually play it and experience it, and you can share the game with all the users, so everyone can have their voice and have their feedback. Having more opinions is always a better idea, because sometimes what happens when we keep on creating any specific feature or any specific task, we are so used to it that we don't see the small details in there, whether we have missed it or not. But if someone takes a fresh perspective and plays it or experience it as a user that has no idea about how it has been developed, how it has been made, or what was the intention, then that feedback will be completely from the different perspective. And those are very valuable feedbacks. So make your prototypes and get them tested as much as possible from as many users as possible and get their feedbacks. Those will be the important values or important details that you'll get. So let's stop this. The adjustment is done, and then the next step is to add a platform to help the player reach the second island, which is done. And then there is an elevator which needs to be activated. So the third tutorial, let's save this one. So all this opening and closing Unity is already doing on its own because it has been organized like that. But let's say if we want to make our game and we don't want to go here and check, then we can navigate and see all things in the project view itself, in the Lego animations, Gizmos, or if it is our own project, then it will be our own hierarchy and we will already know where the objects are placed. So in the prefabs, all the prefabs are there. These are all the characters. In the models, these are all the models, brick collections. These are the buildings, characters. So this template is actually a sort of a virtual version of the actual Lego bricks, you can say. And if you have noticed in these tutorials and scenes, there is in the scene view, there is this floating button, Lego tools. If you open a new Unity instance or open a new Unity window, new project, this won't be there. This is specifically created for this project. And all these things are kind of editor tools, which makes the development and the prototyping process faster and easier. Let's say you want to populate the world. So for that, let's play this third one, activate the elevator. This will be a very good example for the level design. So let's start this one, and here is our elevator, but it is not functional at the moment. So for that, we have to do is add an elevator brick in this one. And if we see in the project view, under the prefabs, Lego and Lego behavior brick, it is already selected and highlighted. We have to select this one and drag it into the scene. Let's place it here. It's placed. And then it asks us to enable the brick building. This is the mode to actually place these predefined objects which are already made, where we will place them. So let's enable that tool and we can see all these icons here. So this is kind of like a customized editor tool for the level design made for this project. Now if we click on this brick and move it around, it is moving, and it is moving as a snapped object. So it is not moving freely, but it is moving as it can be placed, whether it can be placed on that area or not. Let's go to the next step, and then it asks you to select the brick and place it on the right side. So if I select it and place it here, it will snap there, and then we leave it. But for this game, to make it work, there is another behavior script which I have to add to it. We'll just come to it. Oh, it starts from here. Okay. All right. I don't want my character to start all the way from the beginning. I want it to start directly on this island so that I can test my idea or prototype my idea quickly. So what I'll do is I will edit the level. I'll select this object, which is the player minifig in the hierarchy. And using the tools, this tool, I will move it to the island where I want to test it immediately. Now earlier there were a few buttons which I missed deliberately. So there you can see these are centers and local. Right now I can't select them. I'm in the tutorial mode. Back, close this. So if I select an object and see here, I can see this toggle tool handle rotation. This is local and this is global. So local is like local axis of the object, and global is we have the 3D axis orientation for the world of the Unity, which you can see on this top right corner. These three axes. So sometimes movement is difficult with the local axis, so we can switch to the global, and we can it around and move it wherever we want, and whichever is easy for us to navigate or manipulate the object quickly. Now I have placed the object. This is our start object. Let's play this. It will start directly from this island now. So earlier the objective was to test the movement and whether it can reach here or not, but now I want to test this area. I have added this elevator object. It is moving up and down on its own. If I go here and stand here, it will take me up and I can move forward. Now, because the idea of prototyping is to make changes quickly and test them and experience them quickly. So I don't want to, let's say if I have to make some changes and I have to run this scene 25 times. So walking from all the way from the starting point to this island, let's say per cycle it takes me 30 seconds. That will be 25 times 30 seconds, which will be repetitive, and we don't want to do that. So we modified it as per our requirement, and we place the character here directly so that we can just concentrate on this feature and check this area. Let's get back to the elevator tutorial. Let's save this. Let's quickly just navigate to this thing. Oh, we have to do this again. Come on. All right. Next. Next. And to the right side. And play mode. It's moving up and down, and there are two elevator bricks. Then next step was to add a trigger to the elevator. So right now we saw the elevator was moving on its own. There was no input or there was no feedback or there is no trigger point. It is just like a loop automation which is just moving up and down without any initialization. So for that, in this one in Lego, there is a trigger brick. Where is the trigger brick? It's under the assets, Lego, prefabs, Lego behavior bricks. In there, if we see input triggers, pickup triggers, touch trigger. We want this to be enabled on the touch trigger by this tutorial. So let's select this one and add it here. And then we want to, let's place it in this side. Oh, I can't do that. I'm in the tutorial. Okay. So for me, I am doing this step again and again, but I have to go through this like restricted user flow. So now if we see, because there is a trigger attached, that's behavior. I'll explain a little bit about these behavior things as well. So now the platform is not moving up and down on its own. It is waiting for something to happen. When we reach there, it moves up and down. If we go back, it is continuing. It start on its own. So these are the small points, small things which will be coming from the designers or the UI or the user experience team, that this platform should not move on its own. This should move when the user reaches there, or when the user reaches there and presses a specific button. Those are the requirements of the game, how we want to make it. And here, let's say this Lego tool is enabled. If I select this one time, I can move it and it will. I click again. I want to go to the left also. Done. Just like actual Lego bricks, I can place these things. And this behavior, this one we don't need. Also, one point for navigation, like selecting objects, I can select it from the scene view. But if I want to see where is it in the hierarchy view, I can go there and what, can't see it. Why? What is this object name? Elevator. So I want to find this elevator in the hierarchy, but I don't know where this is. It will be in the root because I have dragged it there, but let's say test it. I want to find the elevator object. There it is, under the Lego models. Under the elevator object, we can find this thing, the whole thing. And then there is this brick script attached to this. This object is not visible here. Okay. I'm in the edit mode. Sorry. So this behavior things, how it works, because this elevator script was an action to it, so it was added as a component onto this when we dragged it here, and that is done by this Lego tools, which is kind of a which is not for the beginner users, I'll say. It is more for the advanced user to make the edit faster and the actual level design. So because I dragged two of these elevator actions, I can see there are two of the elevator actions in the inspector view. I can maybe delete one of them. No, I can't. All right. Select this, and in the edit tools, because it is driven by the tool from the editor, so we can select these objects from here and then we can delete them. So now it will be only one elevator action here. Otherwise, how Unity works is we create multiple components or the behaviors and we add them here as a add component object. So especially
Sir?
for the, yep,
Sir, can I ask a question, please?
yeah, please go ahead.
सर इसमें ना कुछ स्क्रिप्ट्स के इंस्पेक्टर में ब्लॉक की इमेज आई हुई थी, तो उसमें हम जैसे जो वेरिएबल्स होते हैं उनको तो सीरियलाइज कर सकते हैं, तो इसमें
Yes.
इन्होंने यहाँ पे इमेज को सीरियलाइज किया है.
इसमें इन्होंने इमेज को यूज किया है, जो दीज आर लाइक काइंड ऑफ कस्टम एडिटर्स.
अच्छा सर, तो मतलब हम नॉर्मली जब कोई मोनो बिहेवियर की स्क्रिप्ट लिखते हैं उसके अंदर सीरियलाइज करके ऐसी कोई
यस,
इमेज
उसका
डाल सकते
कस्टम
हैं?
एडिटर भी बनाते हैं. सो अगर सपोज देयर इज अ कंपोनेंट, सो और उसके लिए हमें स्पेसिफिक प्रॉपर्टीज चाहिए which you will expose in the editor for the designers or for the level designer. So you have to write a separate editor, this inspector script as well, which will derive from the base inspector and extend on top of it. And uske
Oh.
baad, there are a lot of resources for the Unity editor development. So Unity not does only allow the game development, but it also allows to extend the editor also in very huge manner. So you can completely create your own custom tabs, custom tools. Like here we have this UI which we can click on and off. So we can create our custom as well. Let's say we want to visualize some path which is just data in the game, but we can't see it visually. So you can create some sort of Bezier curve which will be visible in the scene view, and then you can visualize it quickly. So this model script, I'll say it's a custom editor here. So let's say if I find references in scene, not this one. So in here you can go to this debug view, and then from the model view you can actually click on the script. So this is the model script. This can be edited in any text editor. It's a CS file. Let's say Notepad++. So this is the model class and this one. So for this specific class, there will be editor script as well to extend the editor. And that should be maybe here in editor folder. These are custom specs. Yeah. So
Thank
all the editor scripts to be specifically in this folder with the name. So these are Unity requirements. So if you want something for the editor which works in the without playing the game, that has to go under this folder with the name editor, and there you can extend all the things. Let's say model geometry maker, group utility. So this one, yeah, brick editor, model editor. So all have all those details. I can actually open this project also. Let's open C# project. Especially for the programmers and developers, you can use any of the IDE for your requirements, whatever suits you. And then you can also change it. Other members of the team just like bear with this for like quickly 2 minutes, 3 minutes. This is also an important aspect. Even the 3D artists or the designers can also use this. Maybe they have to write sometimes scripts, not very complex, but very simple ones, just like move forward or keep rotating something. Yeah, the project is loaded. Now I want to load this model editor script. So I can select this and double click this and it will open it here. So this is with this tag custom editor for this model class, right? So now whatever we create here will show in the inspector, and it's the editor script, and on enable, and it overrides the inspector. It updates all the object and that image. This model was created at building, blah blah blah. The GUI layout. So all these functions are for the editor. So this layout.label field is like text field which will show the message. Then there's a space, then again layout field, then space. Then checking for some prefab, then help box, just like handling multiple things. Open file panel. So all these things in this specific template you can explore. So whatever class that is, if there is a custom editor you see, so just quickly you can select that behavior. Either it's like this is brick script, but let's say you're not able to find what script is this. It's actually a brick, but you can go to this in the inspector view. You can go to the debug, and there it will give you the reference of the script. So you can click from here and you can quickly navigate to any project. If you have created your own project, you already know where the things reside. But if you are working on existing project or template or like a downloaded one, then you can navigate from here. So this is the class for the brick, and it's a brick class. So for this brick class, there will be a corresponding brick editor as well, which we see in the custom inspectors, this one. If you open this, and Unity requires these kind of tags which are defined preprocessors. It's a custom editor for what type of brick. This is the name of your actual source class which it extends. And then this is another property, whether multiple of those things can be edited or not. So in Unity, if you select things in hierarchy, let's say there are 5 objects which are of same type or which have same components attached to them. You can select all of them, and then whatever is the common component which can be edited in multiple things. So here you can see a message like all these things have the model script attached to it, but multi-object editing is not supported. But if you create any default object or any something else, or let's say there are this model script, this is also model, but for this it is not supported. So maybe it's not the requirement for the game, but sometimes it is required that we want to change the property of multiple things at once. A quick example for that will be material. Let's say if I select 4 materials, and if all of them have same shader attached to it, then I can change the property for all the 5 by selecting all of them. I can change it in one click. So these are kind of like a workflows in Unity, how we want to work and make iterations faster. But our custom developed scripts, multiple editing might not be supported sometimes. If it is required, then the programmer team has to add the support for that. Like for this one, brick can be edited, multiple types of bricks can be edited at once. So this is a brick class. So let's say edit this, select this. This is the elevator. It has model script attached. Okay. So it is derived by this tool actually. So all this UI creation for the inspector, all these things will be handled by their corresponding custom editors. And there you can create all the things, alpha height and like dictionary. There's material IDs, where's the image, serialized objects on inspector GUI, editor GUI, in display editor layout property. Okay, this is all the things. Here's the layout. So help box, brick material IDs, help box count, editor layout, prefix label content, color rect, line rect, editor go draw rect, this box, then again box rect and draw rect. IDs. This is for all for the objects. By editing those things, what happens to the object in the scene? Begin disable group property field. Enable disabled group. Okay. Molding color, you get control IDs. Create the box and the tooltip. I'm not sure if there is any reference to this image directly here. I'll have to dig deep from where that image is coming. Okay. If we go to out of the edit mode, then it comes here. All right. So maybe there is this edit tool. So there may be some images already existing there. Okay. Data string. So here we can quickly filter all the textures in assets. Let's say you want to find this image, maximize this, and in the project view, there is a slider in the bottom. This we can change the thumbnail size to list or to the actual images. It will show us all the images which are in here. Okay, this is the name script blue of what is used in the inspector. Now, if you want to see if anything has been used in this scene, we can select on it and we can see find references in the scene. It's not used directly in the scene, it's used in the editor. So it's script blue. Let's say copy path and find in here. Yeah, there it is referenced in model editor, model group editors. Okay, so the image is coming from this model editor behavior script, and the custom editor is extending it there. There you go. So it's this behavior textures dot add. And what is this? This is a dictionary of string and textures. Yep, it's a static one. All the editor scripts have to have static objects. So does that answer your question? So these are kind of like yeah, please. So for different disciplines of the team, designers, artists, 3D artists, 2D artists, programmers, you can pick up any of the existing project and explore on top of it. And there's a for especially for programmers and for technical artists, there is a very good resources from Unity, its documentation. So this is scripting reference and Unity manual. I'll recommend everyone to, if you have any issue or any trouble, go through the documentation first to find it how it is supposed to be used. Then in the references, we can find the scripting API and see all the things by your class. So all the things done in editor are mostly extended by editor, but sometimes we used other objects as well. So you can quickly go here and see if you want to customize our editors or if you want to make custom inspectors. INSPCT, or you can quickly search in here. And if there's any class existing with that name, it will show you. So this thing is an enumeration of Unity editor. And these are different classes which we can find for assets, asset importers, and all the things, camera, utils, so many things. Yeah. So that editor extension, I'll say, will be the part of the actual production, not the prototyping. Because in prototyping, we want to make the things as quickly as possible. But yes, if you want to prototype a feature, let's say there's a technical artist or who want to prototype a level editor tool. So that tool is not meant for the end user, but that tool is meant for some users. Those users will be the designer of the team, the 3D artist of the team. So anything that you have to make, you have to think in terms of prototyping, and prototyping is not just creating the game. Anything around the game which you can break up into small tasks or small features, that can be a prototype in itself. Of a process rather than an actual procedure, you can say. And everything is meant to do the things faster and iterate faster, because it's a game, it's an interactive media, and you can only get the information from this, or you can only get benefit from it if you experience it. So if I want to play a game, let's say I want to play a car racing game or a truck simulator game, and if I'm playing it on mobile, but the controls are hiding, but the controls are on the top of the screen and they hide the whole view, and it won't be a good experience for me, because I want to see the 3D details, I want to see from the side, I want to see from the top, but the controls are hiding it for me. So that part will be for the UX designer. They have to create the control setup or the control layout in a way that it is easy to control, not very small so that you're not able to touch it on the screen, but at the same time, you're not also hiding the actual view of the game. So for that, the prototype from the UX team will be, maybe it can be multiple images. They can create multiple layouts. And then with the help of the designers and programmers, they can actually create a functional layout on the actual device and share the build with the team to play it and give their feedbacks on. So we have covered this one, add an elevator, and then there's this behavior script for the inputs. Let's say what other scripts are there. There is a prefabs, then there will be behaviors. This we don't want. It was in assets, Lego, tutorials. Let's start this. Change the way condition. Save this. All right. So here we have added this thing and enable the brick building. Then again, fine. Then bring it to the specific side. Next, enter play mode quickly. Prefabs Lego behavior bricks. That was the location. So under the behavior bricks, I just did the change the size of the icons. So I can keep them in thumbnail view, but in thumbnail view, sometimes if the name of the folder is very long, it truncates it and I can't see the whole thing. So what I do is, in the project view, I drag this slider and it changes them to reduces the size of the thumbnail and then eventually to the list. Also in the project view, one important thing, right now, if you see, I can see two panels, one for the folder and one for the content of the folder. From the properties, we can change that layout, either one column layout or two column layout. Based on your preferences, you can select which one you want to use. So these are like different behaviors, input triggers, nearby triggers, move, lose, and so many things. I myself have not explored the whole project. It's like very big one. Actually, it's a good one. So input trigger, now I want to select the touch trigger. Yeah. Then play. So this thing is handled in the editor code itself, that even if I add multiple types of the same behaviors, it handles them and creates the control as we expected. Either we add one trigger or we can add multiple triggers, but it works. It doesn't crashes the game, or it doesn't makes my experience to not test it. But if there's a requirement that only one type of component should be used, then the team or the programmer or the artist who is creating that tool will handle the part in the code where only one component can be added. If it has multiple components, or if it has like multiple instance of the same object, either it can give some pop-up error message or it can log error message in the console. And then we reach here at the end, and it's a win condition for this. The game shows explore the island is complete, you won. So all these things are kind of a quick prototypes in itself. Though it's a tutorial for this template project, Lego. But if you see, get started, add a platform, then activate the elevator. These are kind of steps in which steps the actual game will be developed. So now this thing is change the win condition, add an enemy, customize your game. So let's quickly skip these ones. These you can explore on your own. And let's say customize your game. Don't save this one. So start to begin. Now add an explode brick. Before you get to the island, so you'll need to get to the fence. Right now, even a double jump won't let you over it. Luckily, there's a Lego behavior brick to help you explode it. So now in the Lego behavior, there will be explode bricks. Yeah. So there is this explode behavior. Now select it and let's say place it here. One here and select the altar and drag it into the scene view. In the model's stone structure, there is an altar. Let's add it here. Now connect a touch trigger. Add it on this and placed it. Our Lego tool is still enabled if we see it here. So because of this, we are able to place them in the scene view so easily. If this was disabled, those edit commands won't be available there. The whole object will be selected. So this has to be enabled to make the level editor activated. Yeah. Now, in the inspector view, find the touch trigger component, set the property to specific action using the drop-down menu. Let's make it a little bit big. I have to select this, configure the detonator. Touch trigger component, whatever I selected. I have multiple objects selected. I think I deviated from their steps, so it's not allowing me to do that. Okay, let's add this here, and then we add the altar here. Now we want to add the touch trigger to it, so which is highlighted here. I selected it and add it. Now it is already selected with the edit tool. In the inspector, find this touch trigger component. So this is your inspector, which is highlighted one. This is already selected, and this is the component. So if you see under the inspector, there are like different arrows, 1, 2, 3. When we say component, each one of these objects is a component. This is a Lego brick asset component. This is a touch trigger component. This is a brick component. So it wants you to find the touch trigger component and then set the target property to a specific action. So this is the touch trigger component, and then this is the target property to the select the specific actions folder is 2x and then set the size to 1. Specific actions, and then under the specific actions, because it's a list, let's say make it size to 1. So it will give you an action. Then select action button and choose the fence explode. Select action, and then it gave you another pop-up window. And then what does this action should do? These are all the available actions in this one. This action is fence explode. Okay, select this one. It's selected, and then we play it. Where is our oh, I skipped a couple of steps, so it ended the game here. Now that's not we expected. So the tutorial has activate the elevator, change the win condition. Okay, I want to change the win condition. Let's play this one so that we can follow through it till customize your game. Now these are the conditions already defined earlier here. This is the win condition. Select the green behavior brick. This one is the win action. Now select the behavior brick with the hand icon. What does that mean? Select next to continue, and let's replace the touch trigger with a different trigger. So earlier this trigger was just the touch. If you touch this thing, it will enable this win behavior. Edit and delete. Let's delete this object. So now it won't activate on the touch. Now instead of touch, we want to make it an pickup trigger. So on the same location, logo behavior breaks, there's a pickup, and it's added. Select the yellow pickup trigger and drag it in the scene view. Where is the yellow pickup trigger? Pickup trigger is there. I think I selected the wrong one. Delete. This is the pickup trigger, yeah. Yeah, it's snapped. Next. This one was the touch trigger, and then we again reached our end. Now it's not doing anything. Right? Earlier it ended the game because it was activating the touch trigger. Now it's a pickup trigger. It's not doing anything till we do an action. Now we want to change the instruction set. Select the win brick and select the win action brick to the scene view. This is the win action brick. Now change the instruction under the objective for pickup, reveal the text field, select the objective for pickup trigger, fold out, click select next to continue. All right. Now the objective for the pickup and all this message, change instruction text, update the title and detail fields with your choice of text. Title is my custom title and details are my custom details. These are the messages that we want to show to the user. And then save your changes. All right. Save and play. Come on. So now if I notice I have to play this elevator again and again, what I can do is I can move my character and place it next to this area so that I don't have to move the whole thing over and over again. To add an enemy, again, there are like Lego models, characters, select the gallow and drag it into the scene view. Let's do this quickly. Let's place it here. It's snapping to the platform. And then select the shoot action brick and drag it into the scene view. Where's the shoot action? Lego behavior brick. Shoot action brick, okay. And drag it into the scene view. Okay. And then move the shoot brick onto the word. It will snap to show you where it can connect. Okay, done. Next, play. So now this is kind of a behavior which is attached onto this thing. And when we shoot it, oh, I think they're on the different island. Ah, it's in the start. All right, let's move our character back to this area. So I want to test this feature. So I'll move my character back to this area and play again. Select the look at action brick and drag. I'll stop it here now. I'll leave it for you to explore. And meanwhile, I'll open up to the questions and answers. So if you have any doubts, any queries, how to do things, you can ask up now.
Yeah, we're giving all of you the mic access. So if anyone has any questions or doubts, you can please speak up.
You can unmute your mics and ask the questions. Maybe you're asking and the typing for the designers, for the art team. Let's say they want to create a level design. Level design is more of a functional thing. So they can quickly create it in Unity. They can import their assets and bring them all together and create a level out of it. And then they may realize, oh, the scale is not proper. Let's say, for example, for all the buildings or for all the objects. Then they can change that and then again get them back together to see whether when they come together, whether they look good or not, or whether they solve the purpose. For the programmers, it will be an actual prototype of the function, but it can be a quick one. It doesn't need to be optimized or it doesn't need to be a very clean code. It can have hard-coded values. It can be some like dirty code as well. It doesn't matter as long as it works and depicts the feature exactly designed by the design team. The prototype is good. In the production workflow, if we make the prototype, if the time allows, depending on the requirements, what we want to deliver, sometimes we create the prototypes which can be extended and usable actually in the game, but that takes a little bit more time. But let's say we don't have time, we have a deadlines, some execs or is coming and we have to show it to something, or let's say some event is coming, we want to show that to that feature by that time, then we'll make a quick prototype so that we can have a working object or a working game which can be actually played on the device. But once we make it in the actual production form or in the actual production flow, then we'll redo it. But if the time allows in the prototyping phase, then we will take a little bit more time and create that feature in a way which can be reused or extended on top of it. So it's not a specific role for anyone. It's a team effect and it's more of a process.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah. So can you please describe the evolution and scope of games in AR and VR?
Evolution of is evolution and scope. Evolution, I'll say, is a kind of a process on its own. So if you remember when you were playing games maybe 10 years back or 15 years back in your childhood, you were playing on consoles. And those were not Xbox and PlayStations. Those were those 8-bit consoles and 16-bit consoles. Sega and Media and
Yes,
other
sir.
companies, NES, right? So we were playing the games, the graphics were not
Yes.
very clear, and at the same time, the screens that were available at that time, we didn't have the like big screens and the LCD and the LED at that time. We had CRT monitors whose resolution is very low, so it doesn't matter if detail in the game is very high or not. But as the evolution of the technology, the screen gets more pixels in it. We started to seeing the details. Similarly, the evolution of the consoles also is started. If you see the history of the PlayStation, they were like PlayStation 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, now 5, and everyone can render more pixels. It can render 4K pixels, it can render 8K screens and all, and with like 60 FPS and even 120 FPS continuously. So it evolves along with the technology around it. For the AR and VR, it's technology along with the use case. If you imagine playing a game 20 years back, let's say take the example of Angry Bird, and if you want to play it on a 8-bit console, you have to click multiple times, click up and down, then select this value. Now imagine or compare the same thing on the touch screen on the mobile. You just tap at one place and you drag your finger. So which experience is better? On the touch screen, for that type of gameplay, it's better. So that comes as an evolution of the game. For augmented reality and virtual reality, at present, there is a limitation of the hardware because it renders the two screens simultaneously side by side. And even on the mobile platform, we struggle sometimes to display a full screen like a full HD or even like a 2K or 4K screens. With the uptime performance, the device started heating up. So for now, the technology is evolving. I myself have got the Oculus Quest 2 like 2 months back, experienced it, and in itself, it is a complete different experience. You can feel the movement of your hands, you can see how you are moving, and it's tracking your movement exactly from place to place. Even you can create boundaries and stuff in your real room, and then it tracks your movement and does the thing. So there are so many applications of it for the future. Imagine right now we are working from home, so we are using the meetings and for teams, so everyone sits in front of the camera, but we see only a limited area. We can't control the camera. Let's say there are 20 people, all 20 cannot control the camera where they want to see. But if we implement it from the VR perspective, and everyone is wearing their VR headset, they have their own view. They have their own camera defined. They can look at anyone. They can look left and right. So that will be a different experience from the user. So based on those requirements and the applications of the technology, it keeps on evolving. So for AR and VR, there is a lot of scope, lot of futures, and there are already existing games which are available in that. So here there is a that VR shooting game something. So like we play that paintball gun game, we run in real time and we shoot at each other with paintballs. So there was a virtual game and it was a team player. We were like 8 peoples. We went there. We wore our headset with the CPU on the backpack, and it was actually a gun with a controller integrated in it. So wherever we pointed the gun, along with the controller, we can see in the virtual world that we are there, and our fellow team members are also there. That was a very good experience for me. There are a lot of applications in the games, in the multiplayer, in the metaverse, in the virtual walkthroughs, in the virtual worlds. If you want to travel somewhere, and let's say you want to travel somewhere and you want to see it, how it look, you can immediately take a virtual tour of it, and if you find it good, you go there. So there are so many applications for it, and there's a little constraint at the moment from the technology perspective, but it is evolving day by day. And now Facebook investing in the metaverse a lot, the technology will evolve way faster than earlier. Do you have any like specific question from the technology perspective, or like the overall view of how it will?
So, if someone wants to develop more towards the field of graphic programming or shaders, are there any resources that you can suggest for them?
For graphics programming, there are a lot of resources available online as well as in books form from the NVIDIA. If you go to the NVIDIA website, there are a series called GPU Gems. There are GPU Gems 1, 2, 3, so many things. And with these SIGGRAPH talks, they keep on sharing their research and papers every year. So whenever there is a new rendering technique or any technology being developed, it gets shared with the SIGGRAPH. So you can follow those channels and those areas, and you can quickly learn it. If you have an interest in that one, maybe you can quickly create a basic rendering framework in DirectX or OpenGL on your own. Uh, the resources from that are available very well. The DirectX is very well documented with Microsoft, and OpenGL also has a lot of resources. So you can write your own rendering framework and create a little bit of models and just make them render with your custom render, without using any engine, like kind of making your engine yourself, just the rendering part. That will help you understanding in the graphic side of the development. But if you, rather than the engine development, you want to develop the look and feel of the game from the graphic side, then you can delve into the shader development part. So shaders are important for the game. They control how the game will look and feel. If you want to change any property, let's say if you shoot at any object, it turns white, it turns red, that is all controlled through shaders. So out of
So, there's another specific
yeah,
question.
yeah, please tell me.
So, I recently got into the field of compute shaders, and I would like to ask, as if like if you're working on compute shaders, are there any more use of them instead of just like calculating mathematical things, or just drawing basic shapes on your screen for compute shaders?
Compute shaders, I'll say they are more uh, rather than they run actually on the CPU. So if something is there which you want to calculate ahead of time and not put the load on the GPU, then you can create compute shaders for that. But it depends also on the platform. For platform, we won't recommend it. But if it's for console or PC or just for the testing purpose, that can definitely be used. And with the Unity version, it is still evolving. With every new version and update, they keep changing the backend.
Sir,
Yep.
sir, I have one last question. Is Ubisoft hiring any summer interns as of now?
Here we keep on hiring interns. Most of the time we hire interns for the art, interns for the design. Recently we've had interns for programmers as well, yes. But that comes with the requirement. At present, I'm not sure or I'm not aware of if there's any requirement, but I can definitely check. Because I
Oh,
remember recently we got introduced to like two of the interns, and one of the design intern got a permanent position as well recently. So he started 6 months back as a intern designer, and now he's joining us as a full-time designer.
hmm. So actually, me and most of my classmates were doing game development. We've been
Mhm.
looking out for internships for the past 1 year on LinkedIn, and the problem with with the industry that we are facing is that there's a scarcity of the internships that they're offering. Either they want a junior programmer or they want a senior Unity programmer. So it's
Mm.
very difficult to break into this niche for us because no one wants interns as of now. So that's why I asked specifically for an internship. That's where we have to start.
Uh, in India, when I was in EA, there also we hired interns a couple of times. So you can actually check with the companies, just like hunt for the companies, what all are available near you. Don't go for like far away. Just say whichever company you can physically visit actually. So there you can just message them, check with them if they have internship program available or not. And also if it is not a paid internship, even then if you get to work on a good project, it's still very valuable. And apart from that, even if it is not available for everyone, then making a working prototype and hosting it somewhere in events. There are a lot of events available like GDC and so many online events. You can share your content. It's kind of like a portfolio. So like for a 3D artist, a portfolio is a model where he showcases their stuff. There are online portals, art stations, and other places for offload. So many places where they can showcase their stuff. Uh, if it's a high poly sculpting model, they can showcase it on Zebra Central and other websites. So similarly, at present time, we want to showcase our stuff. So what I'll recommend is just make a small game from the, if it is from the programming perspective, just think of a basic idea and make it happen and make a working product out of it, like with a start to end. And there has to be an objective to complete with the difficulties to be faced, like challenges, levels, AIs, and all. And then either host it on a website or you can directly share it with people. And if they have any requirement, they will immediately approach. And sometimes I remember when I was in EA, we were actively looking for interns and we were not able to find them. So we actually traveled to different cities and different universities and hosted a program there for like 2 days and 3 days, having different sessions, shared details, and then got peoples from there. So it's a requirement from both these sides. Just the visibility is the problem. Sometimes companies are not able to see who is available, and sometimes clients or the students don't know where to look for. So to make your work visible, to make you visible, always have a working prototype ready with you, either on your mobile. Mobile is the best showcase area at this time, and Unity, with Unity you can deploy or build on your mobile on Android. Just make a working game, install it on your device, and if you find anyone in the industry, just show them immediately that I have made this game, play it, and just tell me the feedback. Not ask for the role or the internship immediately. Just ask for the feedback. That how is it? And if it is good, then go for the approach that okay, if there's an internship available, if there's any role available, because from the company's perspective, definitely they will be asking for the programmers who is productive immediately, because for them it's more of a cost basis thing. If I have 10 people and out of them all the 10 are productive immediately, I can make the game in 10 months. But out of 10 people, if 5 people will take 2 months time to get productive, then my development cost will increase from 10 months to 12 months or 18 months. So those kind of things comes from the company's perspective, but some big organizations, they actually have the internship program and they actively recruit for it. So having the working prototype is very important. You should always have your work showcaseable, either hosted online or device, so that you can show it to anyone immediately. If it's a link, just show them the link, show it on the website that this is my work, show them the working game on your device that this is my game. And in Unity, you can also host it on website. So you can share the link and people can play it on the Explorer. Because this is also a kind of a market which is getting saturated day by day. So the competition is tougher and also the knowledge is more. When I started back like 15, 17 years, at that time, there were not enough resources to look for. There were not enough companies available to apply to job to. So there were few places, very few instructors to teach us how things are done, especially in the game development. Though the movie industry was there since earlier, but the 3D VFX industry was not there very well. And the gaming was almost non-existent from the development perspective. As the companies come and the institutes are there, students are learning, they are learning better every year. So the requirement for the work is also changing, evolving with that. Earlier, the requirement was you can share your resume, then maybe a link to download the images, but now it has to be interactive. If I can play it and experience it, that's a better judgment of a game than seeing images or screenshots of a game. From screenshots, I can only see the visual quality, but from the actual working prototype, I can see the actual it.
Okay, sir. Okay. So with this, we'll be winding up the session. Thank you so much, Shivam sir, for your time. There was indeed a lot to learn from you. I hope to connect with you again in the future. I
Sure.
would also like to thank all the members for attending, and I hope you got some valuable takeaways like I did. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shivam, a lot.
Thank you, ma'am.
Huh. Take care, please.
Yep.